Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Google Pixel 7 Pro. We're going to do an unboxing on it. I'm going to give you my general impressions and hopefully help you make the decision to say, is this the right phone for you? But before that, just a quick message from our sponsor, My Wallet. So My Wallet actually funds all of the videos that you see here on Reg's channel. And while My Wallet is glad to do it, if you could consider giving me a like, a subscribe, a view on the video, that's really what's going to help take the burden off of My Wallet in the future. So let's get back to the video. Okay, so I had actually pre-ordered the Pixel 7 Pro here. This was probably, about 2 weeks ago. So I've been sitting on this for a week, just getting things together so we could actually make a video on it. So let's go ahead and unbox this thing and see what we got here. Okay, nice. So these phones actually come in 3 different colors, okay? You have got, and I'm not going to use Google's terms for the colors, you've got black, you have white, and you have some type of a green or a gray, okay? So just to give you some context about the Google Pixel line and just Google phones in general, okay? A lot of people that I know, when it comes to getting a new phone, especially if they're not very technically minded, they would usually ask me, well, what do you use? Do you have an Apple or do you have a Samsung? Okay, again, those are what people know. They don't often realize that Google makes the Android operating system and that they have their own ecosystem in terms of phones, whereas they make their own hardware now and they have their own operating system. Okay, so again, you got to kind of keep that in mind. So I'm going to give you just a super quick history lesson on the Google hardware line. Okay, so the Google phones actually started off with the Nexus line. Okay, now to give you some point of comparison here, if you look at a company like Apple, especially with their earlier iPhones, Apple designed the hardware, okay, and they designed the software. So a lot of people, they would really love the user experience on an iPhone. Everyone would say, oh, it's so fast, it's so smooth, everything's really good. And that'll happen when, as a company, you can control that entire ecosystem, right? You make the software and you optimize the software for the hardware, which you've also, had a hand in putting together. If you would take a look at the Android operating system, Android was designed to run on a number of different phones from a number of different manufacturers. Where else have you seen that in the world, okay? PCs, computers, right? If you take a look at the computer market, yeah, you've got the Windows operating system, and Windows is designed to scale and run on a huge variety of hardware, from the really, really slow stuff all the way up into the really, really high-end stuff, right? So the Android operating system was no different. It was designed originally to be run on a multitude of different hardware. And Google always kind of had a vision for what they wanted the Android operating system to be. But the thing is, all the other companies, Samsung included, they would put their own spin on Android. They would put their own skin on it, or they would put their own design elements on top of Android and build in other things to kind of customize or tailor that experience. What Google did was Google decided, okay, we want to take a shot at controlling the hardware as well as the software, and let's see what we can make there. So originally you had the Google Nexus line of phones, okay? The Nexus line of phones were awesome. So what Google would do is they would partner with a third-party hardware provider to produce a handset to their specifications. I think the first one was LG, followed by, I think it was Huawei, for some of the other lines, some of the other Nexus phones that came out. So again, this was their opportunity to control the entire ecosystem, right? And the phones, when they came out, were incredibly well received. The problem is they didn't get the same media attention or spotlight that a juggernaut like Apple would in the industry. And what Google's big claim to fame was, especially with that Nexus line, and again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but was the value proposition. You're getting some really good hardware at an incredibly affordable price. Now, the prices that I'm going to quote are in Canadian dollars. So to my American friends, you can basically knock 35% off these numbers. But I think the original line, the original Nexus line, was somewhere around like the $400 to $500 mark. It was not bad at all. You know, again, if you were looking for a really decently priced phone that ran what I'm going to call pure Android, right? None of the other bloatware or advertising or stuff like that. It was a really great user experience you were going to be getting there. Okay, that Nexus line then progressed. Oh, hello. I see someone else wants to get a little bit of the spotlight here. Okay, but we'll play later, bud. Okay, thanks. So the Nexus line, okay, matured to become the Pixel line. Okay, and with this, Google said, "Hey, we see what Apple is doing, you know, with the iPhone line. We see what Samsung's doing with the Galaxy line. Okay." We are going to take a crack at trying to make a premium product. Okay, so that value proposition kind of fell by the wayside once we started getting into the Pixel line of phones. Okay, unfortunately, you know, as is the way in the world. So, you know, there's kind of been a lot of back and forth, because when you look at the brand new iPhones, you look at the brand new handsets from Samsung, right? Specs wise, these things have monster CPUs in them, great GPUs, tons of memory, really fast storage, those sorts of things. Whereas these guys, they really didn't go down that road with their hardware. They took a really different approach. Where Google knows the software. They have that part of the ecosystem nailed down flat, okay? So they were optimizing their hardware for their software, okay? So the really cool thing is with the Pixel 6 line, actually, which you can actually get a really good deal on right now because these guys just came out, you can actually get yourself a phone with a CPU made specifically for Google, the Tensor chip, okay? Now, I know a lot of tech sites who have been reviewing these already have been complaining, saying, oh, well, the new version of the Tensor CPU is not very good, or the new version of the Tensor processor is not very good. Well, hey, you know, it's a tweak or it's a modification on what was already existing. Remember, Google's bread and butter is the software, is that side of the ecosystem, and they've got a piece of hardware that's catered specifically for them. Okay, so again, I'm really interested to see how this is going to stack up. Now, my current phone is a Pixel 3 XL. Okay, so at this point, this guy is 4 years old already. You know, pretty much to the date of almost when this came out. Okay, now here's some of the challenges that I've been seeing over time with this phone. Number one, battery degradation. It's a 4-year-old phone. Okay, the battery is not going to be as good as it was new, and that's just the reality of the situation. Okay. On some of the older phones that I've had, especially the ones from the Nexus line, I would go through the trouble of, you know, taking the phone apart painstakingly and replacing the batteries. As far as I'm concerned, that's a young man's game now. I'm not going to go through that effort with these anymore. Because what you're going to see, especially if you have a phone that is about 3 or 4 years old, whether it's an iPhone, whether it is an Android handset from any of the manufacturers, you're going to notice things like battery degradation. You're also going to notice things like just a generally slower user experience in a lot of cases. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, you've been rolling that operating system for 4 years with the apps, the updates, you know, files being moved from here, there, and whatnot. Okay, things are going to slow down over time. One thing you could consider with an older phone is perhaps just reinstalling, you know, the Android operating system, doing a wipe on the phone and starting from scratch. But for a lot of people, that also can be a pretty daunting experience. I know for myself personally, I'm pretty technically minded, but that's not exactly high on my list of priorities to do, you know? And again, I've just made peace that, you know, this thing has served me really well for 4 years, but now it's time to get something with a bit more of a modern feature set. So speaking of modern feature set, let's actually get this thing open and take a look at it here. So for starters, we got these cool little pull tabs on the back. So let's get these open. Okay. And now here's what you came for, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see what we get in the box. Oh, look at that thing. All right, folks, there it is. Okay, so let's pull that off. And that right there, that is the cleanest that this screen is probably ever going to be, what you guys are seeing right here, right now. Okay, so we'll get that off of there. We'll take a look. So initial impressions here, okay? Compared to my Pixel 3 XL, this thing just seems so new, so shiny. Weight-wise, they're very close to each other. I know weight apparently is a thing that people are concerned with when it comes to phones, or at least manufacturers think so. I think the difference on weight is somewhere in the ballpark of, yeah, it's 28 grams, okay? I really don't think you're gonna notice 28 grams of difference. One thing you might notice though is that this guy, when he came out, had a 6.3 inch screen. This one's a 6.7 inch screen, so it is a larger screen on it, okay? But if you hold these side by side here, okay, I mean, yeah, you can tell that the Pixel 7 Pro is a bigger phone, but it's not that much bigger. I think these things have gotten to the point where they're so darn huge as it is, you know, it just, we're kind of complacent when it comes to the big ones already. Personally for me, why I decided I wanted to go with the Pro was to get the bigger screen. If you guys have seen some of the previous videos on the channel, you know that, you know, I like to use a drone for a lot of things. So having a bigger display for that, in my opinion, was really important. So I enjoyed that. So in the box, okay, obviously we've got the phone, and let me tell you, this thing is pretty cool. Okay, beyond that, we've got a pamphlet with some instructions. We have got a we got a USB-C cable, USB-C to C, and then we also have an A to C cable here. You will notice there is no charger in the box, okay? And welcome to probably the past 2 years, 3 years of manufacturers doing this. Now, manufacturers take the high road of saying, oh, well, we don't want to be adding any more e-waste to the environment, right? Well, let's be real, it's a cost-cutting measure, okay? You're releasing a phone that has all the latest and greatest technology, and it supports fast charging, all these other things, and you're expecting me to use a 4-year-old charger that I got with this thing that may not meet the charging spec of this thing, as in it won't charge it as fast as what it's capable of. Come on, Google, you can do better than that, okay? Will you? Likely not, because everyone's out to make a buck these days. So I don't see that as a trend that's going to be reversing. If you are looking for some decent chargers, I'm going to highly recommend that you take a look at the Anker line of products, okay? Again, you know, they don't sponsor me or anything like that. Just an end user's experience. I've had really great experiences when it comes to using their products. All right, so just let's take a look around the phone here. So in terms of ports, we got our USB-C here. We've got 2 speakers, stereo sound on this guy, which is super nice, okay? We've got, appears to be a volume rocker on the side, and our power. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up, and let's see what we get here. Ooh, look at that. Right on. Okay, so it's coming to life. It's coming to life. Oh, that is just beautiful. That phone is super cool looking. So again, just a few more things about the phone. One of the big things you're gonna notice, well, this one's booting up. If I can just get my old one here to, here we go. I do not need to make an emergency call. I just need to get into my phone, thank you. There it is. Okay, so one of the big things you'll notice is the size of the bezels on the phone, okay? You're gonna notice that on this one here, I think the bezel ratio is somewhere in the ballpark of around 88%, as in the screen to body, whereas this old guy's 83%, okay? So, okay, let's go ahead and get started, okay? So, connect to a mobile network. They want me to put my new SIM card in. Did you guys give me a SIM card tool? Yep, you should have. Yeah, you did. Okay, so that's right inside this little Google pouch where you got, what I'm going to assume is owner instructions and whatnot. That's where your SIM card removal tool is going to be. So here we go. Got my little SIM popper here. Okay, so we've got the SIM tray open on this one. Now we're going to go ahead and pop the SIM tray open on this guy. Now, if we take a look, okay, SIM tray is going to be at the very bottom near the charge port, okay, on the Pixel 3 XL here. So I'm going to go pop them open, and let's swap SIMs. All right, so now we've got the new SIM in here. Okay, so SIM's inserted. Okay, so yeah, now obviously the next thing it's going to want to do is it is going to want to connect to my Wi-Fi here in the house. So. All right, so again, just a few so let's just kind of maybe highlight a few of the changes. What's happened in the past 4 years in terms of phones, okay? So between these two here, screen size, okay? So screen size has increased. Screen resolution has also went up, okay? You're looking at 3120 by 1440 pixels on this guy, and you've got 2960 by 1440 on this one, okay? What else we got here? So again, this phone uses an older Snapdragon 845, okay? Whereas the new one has got Google's latest and greatest, the G2 Tensor. Now, big difference between these two. This fella was built on the 10 nanometer process back in the day, okay? This one is built on the 5 nanometer process, okay? So that means we should be getting more power and better battery life. Okay. Speaking of battery life, now that's where there's a huge difference between these two. Okay. This fella here, in terms of battery size, I think this one was around 3,430 milliamps, somewhere in that ballpark. This guy's worth 5,000. Okay. Now, before we go getting too excited thinking, oh wow, this is going to be fantastic, we're going to get almost double the battery life, it's going to be better. Okay, because of, like I said, the newer process technology that the phone's made with. But remember, that fancy 120 hertz display that's going to be silky smooth like butter, that requires power. The larger display, the faster CPU, the additional RAM, all those things are going to kind of bite into that power envelope. Okay. Yes, the phone is likely going to give me way better battery life than this one did, especially because this one's tired. It's 4 years old. Okay. And that's probably something that you're going to come to realize as well here. Okay. So the beauty with sticking with the Google ecosystem is that I can literally just port everything over from the old phone, and it's basically magic. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and run through that process while this is happening here. Oh, hello again. Are you helping me set up the phones? Do you think that the new, Pixel 6 Pro is worth it, buddy? What do you think? Deep thoughts, eh? Okay, watch out. Watch out, buddy. Thank you. So just a couple other things we'll talk about. On that note of charging, okay? Both of these support rapid charging, although, again, I'm not 100% sure on this. I think that the Pixel 7 Pro supports 30 watt fast charging, or maybe it's only 23. It might just be 23, okay? But regardless, supports fast charging, which is nice. If you're in a rush and you have a rapid charger, you can juice up really quickly. Another really nice feature with this one is it also supports wireless charging. Both of these support wireless charging, although I do believe that the Pixel 7 Pro does support it to a higher wattage, so you could wirelessly charge that much faster. For myself, I have a wireless charger, again, an Anker wireless charger on my nightstand, and I love at the end of the night just being able to drop my phone right on the stand, and I know that I'm getting a charge there, okay? The new one, however, has a few really cool tricks up its sleeve, one of them being reverse wireless charging. Okay, so in theory, technically, I should be able to drop this phone on this phone, and I should actually be able to charge it. This one can export power, okay? So that's kind of cool. So what else do we got here? What else do we want to talk about? The other big thing that we've got here is cameras, okay? When it comes to cameras on these here, the Pixel 3 had a 12 megapixel camera. This thing has got a 50 megapixel quad Bayer magic device, okay? Camera is really, really good, okay? Now here's the thing, smartphones, especially the new iPhones, these new Google handsets, this is where these things have come such a long way, okay? Right now, I'm recording this video on a Sony a7 III, okay? And a GoPro Hero 11 right above me, okay? The quality of video that you're gonna be able to get from these phones is gonna get you, now remember, this is under most conditions. If the lighting's ideal, if those things line up, you're probably gonna get 90% of the quality of that video that I'm getting from the good camera. Now that's crazy, okay? You gotta keep in mind, this is where computational photography becomes a thing, okay? These phones, they use computational photography to be able to give you portrait mode where you get that beautiful bokeh in the background, okay? Those sorts of things. So, that's something you really gotta be mindful of here. The cameras have really come a long way, but more so, it's the software, okay? Google for the longest time used the same camera from phone to phone to phone, but they were able to make a lot of their improvements in the software in terms of what the photos would actually look like. So in terms of photos, those are going to be fantastic. If you're into taking video with these, the Pixel 3 XL could do 4K at 30 frames a second, okay? The new one can do 4K at 60 frames a second, so that's really nice. Gives you a much smoother quality of video there, okay? Front cameras, again, the older phone, 8 megapixel camera, that was fine. The new one, 10 megapixels. So if you're into the selfies, okay, or if you're doing, if you're doing messenger calls, things like that, you're going to have a better experience there. Okay. Again, in terms of screen material, you've got the latest Corning Gorilla Glass. I think it's called Victus, so it's still glass. Okay, it's going to shatter if you drop it, but every year the screens just get a little bit more durable, Okay, so that's a good thing. For myself personally, the next stop for this is a screen protector. Okay, now I am a huge fan of the tempered glass screen protectors. They've saved my bacon a few times. I've had some of the non-tempered glass ones, and I just found them to just not look as good. Either they don't quite adhere as well, or what. We're gonna see what happens. The challenge with this one, and again, I don't know if we're actually gonna be able to pick it up fully or not, is the fact that the Pixel 7 Pro actually has a little bit of a curved screen. It kind of tapers at the end. So I think we're probably going to have to wait a little while until we have manufacturers releasing those tempered glass ones with the right tolerances and curves. I know there's a few manufacturers out there. Spigen, I'm 100% pronouncing that wrong likely. They make some really great bang for the buck accessories, and I know that they're like a certified by Google partner now, meaning that their peripherals, their cases, their screen protectors should line up almost one-to-one for these devices. So that is something that we're going to take a look at down the road. Okay, but again, that's kind of my next stop on the train here. So what we'll do now is we're going to go through setting this up, and then I'm just going to give you some general impressions in terms of the user experience. Okay? So you can see here, when I'm about to go through the copy here, it's asking me, do I want to set up my new device? I'm going to go ahead and use my fingerprint sensor, and we let the magic begin. Okay, it's going to automatically start copying over my accounts, all my settings. And it's really cool because once you actually get to the point of setup on this guy here, you're going to have your background, you're going to see all of your icons, and all of a sudden all your apps are going to start appearing. It's a really cool experience, so I do appreciate that. In terms of storage capacity or storage space on these guys, my old phone was the 64 gig model, and you know what, for me, that was fine until I got a drone and it started copying the shadow files and whatnot over to the phone. So the things, when you're part of the Google ecosystem, you get locked into Google Photos, okay? Although there was a lot of controversy because apparently Google, they were giving you free storage for the longest time, and the free storage was at original photo quality, okay? The challenge with that is the size of the files are continuously getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that storage space costs Google money at the end of the day. So I still believe that you get unlimited photo storage. However, the photos and videos are actually at a slightly reduced quality. Okay, so you can still see the thumbnails on your phone once it's been uploaded to Google Photos, but when it comes time to download it, you just got to get a new copy of that file again. Okay, so it's telling me it's going to take 6 minutes to transfer all of my stuff over. Okay, well, here you go. Let's see what we got. That definitely will go. All right, so those are our two screens side by side in terms of what we're getting here, okay? Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, so first things first, the way that these scroll. Now, again, I don't know if the camera's actually going to pick it up, but the first thing that I notice here is that it's a way smoother experience in terms of how the icons just move on these things. Now, that's because, again, the new phone has 120 hertz display, okay? That's the refresh rate of the phone. So put it this way, if the phone could display something at 120 frames a second, it could refresh those frames every 120 times every single second. It has the ability to display that. Okay, so I'm probably not giving the best example of that, but we have to understand there's a correlation between frame rate and how many hertz the display actually is in order to make these things move. The higher the hertz the display, the more fluid, the more vivid that the motion's actually going to be on screen. Okay, the new video game consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PS5, their big thing is they support 4K at 120 hertz, meaning that theoretically they could display all 120 frames per second if a game could actually support that on the hardware, which we're still a ways off, okay? But anyway, that's what we're getting at. So that's why this thing is super smooth. Okay, so again, of course, I've got my 8 million alerts here that pop up. Okay, let's take a look and see. Oh wow, that is nice.
Let's get to the camera, because really, I'm sure that's what a lot of people are focused on. Now, right off the hop, it's telling me that there's an update for my camera. Now, again, one of the things that I noticed right away is how quickly the autofocus hits on both of these. So again, maybe for our top-down camera, that might pick it up, but you can see the difference just in terms of camera quality. I really don't have anything super great for us to focus on, but maybe let's try this. Whoops. And again, we're looking at with this one here, we're looking at a 50 megapixel sensor, okay, versus a 12 megapixel sensor. So again, you can take some pretty amazing photos with the new phone. So that's really cool. Okay. What about video performance? Oh yeah, you can do slow motion. You can do time lapse on here. I believe there's also an action cam mode on the new ones as well, which is kind of interesting to see here. All right.
Oh crap, it's gonna change the footage. Oh, whatever, I think I can sync them up after. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick little video clip with both of these here and see. Okay, so both are the same clip. Okay. Just so you can have a point of comparison on which is the better camera here. Okay, and this little fella here, his name is Maverick. Okay, so hopefully that'll give you a little bit of an idea in terms of what we're in for in terms of camera quality here. All right, so again, just in closing thoughts, folks, my initial impressions here, this seems like it's a really well-built phone, okay? Now, the big question though is it for you, okay? And that's gonna depend, all right? If you are the type of user who you just got a Pixel 6 Pro, you like keeping up with the Joneses, you're into the latest and greatest, then guess what? There's probably not enough difference between this and the Pixel 6 for you to jump on that bandwagon, okay? You may be a tech adopter, and sure enough, there might be a few quality of life improvements that you're game for, but I'll be honest with you, if you're coming from last year's phone, my opinion personally, probably not enough for you. But if you have an older phone, okay, you're coming from an older iPhone, you're coming from a Pixel 3 like me, this is going to be a night and day difference compared to what you had. Like I was saying, you're going to have better battery life, you're going to have way faster performance, a much smoother screen, and a way better camera. For most people, those are check marks across the board, okay? The big question is this phone for you, okay? Something you got to keep in mind, this isn't cheap, okay? After taxes, this phone was, oh boy, just over $1,300 Canadian, okay? That is a lot of cash. But you got to ask yourself the question here. I'm using this phone for 4 years, okay? If I do the math on that, that's less than $1 a day, okay? For something that I'm on for probably 2 to 3 hours a day. Like, let's be realistic here. If I think about all the time that I'm using this, whether it's for work, whether it's for personal stuff, okay? So you got to ask yourself, is that expense worth it to you, okay? Now I get it. Everything is expensive now. But this is one of the things that if you can afford to push that budget and get into a higher end phone like this is how you're going to have something last you for 4 years that you're going to be relatively happy with. Like I said, my big gripes with the Pixel 3 was that I was starting to see reduced battery life, and I was starting to see some performance slowdowns, okay? I'm going to give you another really good practical example. My wife had an iPhone 7 Plus, okay? She had an iPhone 7 Plus. That phone came out in 2016, okay? We recently upgraded her to an iPhone 12 Pro Max, okay? Day-to-day usage on her phone, there was no real issues, okay? It still did everything she needed it to do. The challenge was battery life, okay? And again, we were at a point where we weren't necessarily wanting to go ahead and just have the battery replaced. We thought, you know what? It's time to get you a better camera and all the other newer bells and whistles, okay? So again, could you get away with a cheaper phone? You could, but again, there's trade-offs for everything in life, okay? So folks, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, you know the drill. Please consider giving me a like, giving me a thumbs up, giving me a subscribe. It really goes a long way to helping the channel, and I'd love to hear your comments down below, okay? So we'll catch you in the next one.